All right. I am here. I went ahead and started recording. We are a couple of minutes earlier, but I'm gonna go ahead and start in. It's probably just you today, Matt. Gina wrote me and told me that she probably wouldn't be able to be in here today. So you're probably the only one in here for the day. So we'll go with that on it. Chapter 8 is configuring distributed file system and branch cache. The branch cache is a relatively new piece on there, and the DFS, the distributed file system, is also a newer item to it, because it comes under the file and storage services role, so that you can share things between different folders out there and put them into different shares off of it and do some different ways of sharing information around. So it's a newer one that they've done with it and that they have you creating in here. So you have to create a namespace, which is where your shared space is, and then you'll attach your shares to that namespace, and that then they'll fit into there. So they all share out according to who you want to share them with and how you want to share on it. So that's going to come with the distributed file system, so that you're distributing the file system out. And so then those that are getting those, it looks like they're seeing everything out there actually. They're seeing everything they're allowed to see, and they'll look like they've got complete spaces out there when they really don't. They've been limited on the type of things that they're allowed to see. So they go through and walk you through where you set that up, and then they also do a little bit on their replication, where you can set up replication groups, and that's so the data is automatically synchronized between your folders to keep it completely up to date out there. And they show you some ways to do on that and how often you want to do that replication, because if you do the replication too often, you're going to slow yourself down. You're going to bog the system down, but you want to do it often enough to keep them different on it. Not different, but to keep them the same. So sorry about that one on that. So you're going to be doing that. Then the second part of the chapter is getting into branch cache. And it's a way to get around the fact of where when you're sharing stuff across the WAN link, not LAN, but WAN, that things can get slow on you, because, and it gets expensive too, because your WAN links cost more and also tend to be slower. And what it does is it allows you to cache the files from the central office to a site and then do your replication back at different points. So what it's going to do is when machine 1 requested at the branch site and it's a file at the central site, it's going to pull it down and it's going to put it in cache, in the branch cache on the server on your site. So then when client 2 or 3 or 4, whichever another one wants it, it doesn't have to be retrieved from the server at the central site. It gets retrieved from the branch site, and so it's quickly available. Now, the problem with that is that's not necessarily completely updated data, because obviously it could update over that time. So your object is to work on that, to work around that, and figure out how to do on that. So when changes occur out there, it's just going to pull down the change on it, and that's getting your fasterness on it. So the branch cache, the idea is you've got a central system that's got this pretty static information, but has that information there that you can then distribute it out using branch cache as it needs to be drawn to the sites, and then that other request within a certain time period aren't retrieving back from the main site but are retrieving locally. So you're now working LAN. The first try was on across the WAN, W-A-N, and then the ones after that within the time period of how long you keep the cache good for, then pull from across the LAN, not the WAN. And so that makes your data more quickly available to you. So it speeds it up for you and makes it very quickly available to you. And that is a whole feature out there for you in branch cache. So that's what they're going to be introducing you and showing you how to set it up also. Unless you're working for a large organizations with need for data scattered across a good distance spots, you may not use branch cache, but from an enterprise-wise approach, that branch cache is definitely there. If you're working with single location organizations, obviously you're not going to be dealing with branch cache, but you will be dealing with the distributed file systems that we were talking about at the beginning of the chapter, to how you can distribute stuff out in there and also limit who gets into which part of the data. So you're looking at an enterprise items right there in that, and that's what we're going to work on for the next 2 weeks. However, chapter 9 we've only got scheduled for the last week, so you may well want to go ahead. And what we'll do is next Monday, I'm going to go ahead and cover chapter 9. Next Monday with a brief overview. We're looking at some advanced network solutions, things that deal with bandwidth and some other type things, and how you can do some other type things in there. We'll look at that next Monday, although we'll still be technically on chapter 8 next week also. And then that'll give you all 2 weeks to be working on 9 in. Because 9 is the last chapter, and then it's due on May the 3rd, I believe it is the last Monday. We will not have that Monday on the 3rd. I know we will not have collaborate session, and I'm thinking the 26th we may not have. There's actually no discussion that week, if I remember right. No, there is no discussion that last full week. I'll go ahead and schedule a collaborate session for that Monday, the 26th, but that'll be a fully optional one to attend. Next week will actually be the last collaborate session that'll be graded and discussion. And then that following week, there won't be, because that would be due on the last Monday, the last day of class, that Monday, the 3rd, I believe it is. I'm not sure on that, but it is the 3rd. So I'm not doing discussion during that week because y'all's final will be, your last assignments will be due in all my classes on the 3rd. Finals will be due on the 4th, and in my 2 Cisco classes, their lab final is due on the 4th. And then graduation, I believe, is the 6th, but for some reason, I think they said the 5th the other day. Because we just had to say if we were going to, faculty members, if we were going to go to it, which I said I was going to. It's in Rome this semester. And now, It's on the 6th, okay. And I'm supposed to be down there for that. Grades may well be, I think they're not due till that next Monday this time for a change, but a lot of times they're due on that Friday morning. And so to keep from me being completely overwhelmed, too bad that week that I've cut some stuff back during that week to handle that. So by that Friday morning, whether they're due that Friday morning or not, I intend to have the grades in. Now I have a feeling though they may well be due that Friday morning, because that next week is the only week that the faculty can take time off on. And I've also got to get classes set up for summer beforehand, and I would like to take off at least part of that week for some vacation time. I earn 14 hours a month annual leave, I believe it is, which is a day and 3/4. And I took some the end of March during spring break, but I worked every day still. Well, I think I did at least an hour every day, and ended up having to take sick leave for at least a day of it because of my COVID shot, and I had a little bit of reaction. And I have been losing leave for a number of months now because I'm over the maximum you can build up to. So even with what I took then, I probably took like 21 hours. That was just one month and part of another month. So that would have taken care of April's and a little bit of, or March's and a little bit of April, but I lost before that. And I've got a little bit of April that I'll lose probably this month. And then I'm still sitting at the max again. So I need to take some then. And then the next time that they encourage us to take is at the end of the summer semester when we get to the end of July. But I do have an event or two. I'll find out later this week if I've got a second thing that I need to go to that I'm involved with, which are really civic activities. So we'll see on that. So that's the status on things here. That was a quick overview for you of Chapter 8. Have you got questions for me on Chapter 8, Matt? Okay. So, because you're probably, I would suspect, just about through with Chapter 8 at this point, if you haven't already submitted it. Actually, I think you have already submitted it, now that I think about it. No, but I do have 2 students already have submitted Chapter 8. And Chapter 7 should be graded. It's graded for everybody but one that turned it in today. Because I was going to say, Saturday I thought I'd actually gotten ahead on grading. So if it was turned in before Saturday, I have already graded Chapter 7. So I'm actually a little bit ahead on grading this week. So that being it, I'm going to go ahead and let you go and tell you I will see you next week. And I would expect Gina will be back with us next week. So have a good week and talk to you then.